This is a mess. These are accusing Stefon Diggs of messing around with Playboy Cardi's ex Gio. All went down after Gio posted a couple of photos on her IG story, and fans that in the backyard she was in was strikingly similar to a backyard that Stefon Diggs used to post up in. We all know Stefon Diggs has multiple homes because he is rich AF, but it's looking like him and his brother Trayvon Diggs used to practice in the backyard of a mansion, and Gio was seemingly in that same backyard.
So Playboy Cardi's ex Gio was spotted at Stefon Diggs' house, online detectives put two and two together from their background in their pictures, and that has the rest of the internet wondering. So when did Cardi B and Stefon Diggs break up? However, one of Cardi's close friends, Ken Barbie, took to Twitter and tweeted, "Little do y'all know, she's been gone." Basically letting us know they've been broke up, they've been done, they've been moved on.
So it's starting to look like Stefon Diggs may have found himself in the middle of more drama once again. As many people know, Stefon Diggs and Cardi B have had a relationship full of twists and turns. One moment they seem close, the next they appear to be going their separate ways, and before long they're being linked together again. Not too long ago, the two were even seen together around Mother's Day, which quickly got people talking. A lot of fans took it as a sign that they had worked through their differences and were back on good terms once again. Now, even before that, Stefon Diggs was seen at one of Cardi B's concerts, and he was also spotted leaving a club with her, which had plenty of people talking. Those appearances only added more speculation that the two were in a good place. But now, it's looking like that buzz may not have lasted very long. Fresh rumors started spreading after Playboy Cardi's ex-girlfriend, Gio, shared a few photos online. The moment those pictures went up, people wasted no time zooming in on every detail and checking the background for clues.
Rumors on the street that she previously was begging Playboy Cardi. Scoop reported this on X, and if you guys are unaware, they previously tweeted back in mid-April that they thought that Gio and Stefon Diggs were messing around. Well, it's looking like this confirmed it to them. I really didn't want to bring old girl into this, but it's looking like she is not going to be healed anytime soon. Like Gio and Stefon Diggs messing around wouldn't be a problem if Stefon Diggs hadn't said all of these whatnots to Cardi B and promised to heal her, only to leave her barefoot with a baby and embarrassed. It's pretty obvious that Cardi B has made cautious steps to separate herself from Stefon Diggs. I felt like they were going to go harder and pop out more after his case got settled. Like things are still headed south between the two because I don't really see them popping out that much.
People quickly started comparing Gio's photos to pictures and videos that had previously been shared by Stefon, and many thought the background looked extremely familiar. The grass appeared similar, the fence seemed to match, the landscaping looked almost identical, and even the overall setup caught people's attention. If those similarities really mean Gio was at Stefon's place, it raises a lot of questions. The biggest thing people are wondering is when this connection may have started and how long it has been going on behind the scenes. That's because rumors have been circulating that these two may have been spending time together since April, at least according to online speculation. If there's any truth to those claims, it would raise even more questions, since Cardi B and Stefon Diggs were still being seen together as recently as May. With the timeline getting people talking, many began wondering what was really going on behind the scenes. As the chatter continued to grow across social media, Ken's friend Ken Barbie decided to step in and share his thoughts on the situation. Now, a lot of people online have pointed out that Stefon hasn't exactly had the smoothest reputation when it comes to relationship rumors and public speculation. Because of that, some fans were quick to connect the latest gossip to stories that have circulated in the past.
After the Knicks won the finals, Cardi B popped outside and Stefon Diggs was nowhere to be found. As he is training and trying to get ready for the upcoming NFL season, it wasted no time having girls posted up in his crib. So a lot of people are going to be in the comments saying they thought that Gio was a lesbian. I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think she gets in where she fits in. As we all know, she previously went viral for she did all of that stuff to Playboy Cardi. Stefon is next on her docket. It got me side-eyeing him.
As the conversation continued to pick up steam, Ken's friend Ken Barbie shared a message that immediately got people talking. He posted, hurt people. They think they'll get you back by hurting you, but instead just push you further away." Many followers started wondering who the message was directed at. He also posted, "I'm proud of you, little miss." Now, Cardi's tour is called Little Miss Drama, so a lot of people immediately picked up on that connection and started reading between the lines. But the post that really got people talking was when he shared, "Whole time she been gone." That message had many fans believing the situation may have already been settled behind the scenes and that the public was just catching up to what had happened. As a result, plenty of people began speculating that Cardi had already moved on and was focusing on herself and her career instead. A lot of fans have expressed disappointment about the situation because Cardi and Stefon were recently building a future together. Many people believe their young child is only a few months old, which has made the rumors even more emotional for those following the story.
I think that people can date whoever they would like, and I don't see any problem with Stefon Diggs as a single man dating Gio as a single woman. But I just find it super interesting that he moves on super quick. A lot of the times in the entertainment industry, we see the guys who have money, fame, and power. They just bounce to the next woman, to the next woman, to the next woman, to the next one.
Some followers have also been saying that things seem to become more complicated around the time their child was born, at least from what could be seen publicly. On top of that, there's been plenty of online discussion about Stefon's growing family over a relatively short period of time, which only added more attention and speculation surrounding his personal life. And with all of that being discussed online, people have been paying even closer attention to every new post, appearance, and message connected to the situation. Social media has been filled with theories, with fans trying to figure out what's really going on behind the scenes. What's making the story even bigger is that neither side has fully addressed all of the speculation directly. That has left plenty of room for rumors to spread, and every small detail is being picked apart by followers looking for answers. As a result, the conversation just keeps getting louder and louder online. What has people especially curious is the timing of everything. Fans have been looking back at old photos, public appearances, and social media activity, trying to piece together a clearer picture of what may have happened. Every time a new screenshot or clip surfaces, it seems to spark another round of questions.
That means Cardi B is motherfucking outside. So I'm starting to realize like a pattern. When Cardi gets to going outside for real, she's single. She's single. When she's put up in a relationship, she's put up. She do not be nowhere when she got a man.
At the same time, others are urging people not to jump to conclusions too quickly. Since most of the claims are still based on speculation and internet detective work, many believe it's important to wait for more information before treating any rumor as a confirmed fact. Still, one detail that keeps coming up is how quickly people connected the dots after those photos were posted. Within hours, social media users were pulling up older content, comparing locations, and pointing out similarities they believed were too specific to ignore. Some were convinced they had found a major clue, while others argued that similar-looking backgrounds don't necessarily prove anything. Because of that split reaction, the discussion is shifted from simply reacting to the photos to debating whether the evidence being shared is actually strong enough to support the claims being made. Another reason people are paying attention to this situation is because it didn't come completely out of nowhere. For months, there have been on and off rumors surrounding the relationship, with fans constantly trying to figure out where things really stood between Cardi and Stefon. Every public appearance seemed to create a new wave of theories about whether they were together, taking a break, or simply remaining on good terms. That history is a big part of why these latest claims gain traction so quickly.
Honestly, I'm happy for her. Hopefully they can, continue to have a great co-parenting relationship. But Stefon Diggs got way too much shit going on. From the immense amount of baby mamas, to doing the math, to figuring out, you must have been fucking them bitches around the same time you was fucking Cardi, because these babies are around the same motherfucking age.
Many followers were already watching closely, so when new photos and messages started making the rounds, they immediately began connecting them to the bigger picture. What's also interesting is how differently people are interpreting the same information. Some fans believe the clues being shared are enough to suggest there's more to the story, while others think people are reading way too much into a few photos and social media posts. It really depends on which details someone focuses on, and that's why there's been so much back and forth over what these images actually mean. Another thing worth mentioning is that public relationships often come with non-stop scrutiny. Every appearance, every comment, and every interaction can end up being analyzed by thousands of people looking for hidden meaning. In situations like this, even something that seems minor can suddenly become a major talking point if enough people start connecting it to a larger narrative. For now, a lot of the discussion is centered on piecing together timelines and figuring out whether the rumors match up with what has been seen publicly over the past few months.
And all his court cases dealing with the abuse and attacking this man and he just got a lot of shit going on for real. So I'm happy Cardi said, nah, I'm protecting my peace. Like, bye. We can co-parent, we can be friends, but a relationship, he don't need to be focused on that right now. He really don't need to be focused on doing nothing but handling the motherfucking court cases.
And when people started looking closer at the timeline, that's where even more questions began popping up. Fans weren't just comparing photos anymore. They were also looking at when certain posts were made, when different appearances happened, and how everything lined up. Some believed the dates supported the rumors, while others argued there were still too many gaps to draw any solid conclusions. What makes situations like this so complicated is social media only shows small pieces of the full picture. A photo can be taken weeks before it's posted. A public appearance doesn't necessarily reveal what's happening behind the scenes, and online speculation can sometimes move much faster than the actual facts. Because of that, people have been debating whether the clues being discussed are meaningful or simply coincidences. At the same time, supporters of both Cardi and Stefon have been defending their sides, with many saying it's important not to assume too much until more information becomes available. One thing that has definitely caught people's attention is how quickly the focus shifted from the photos themselves to the reactions surrounding them. At first, most of the discussion was about whether the backgrounds matched and what that could potentially mean. But once people started sharing screenshots, reposting comments, and discussing the messages from those close to the situation, the conversation began taking on a completely different angle. A lot of fans believe that public reactions can sometimes reveal just as much as the original posts. That's why so many people started paying attention to the comments, captions, and subtle messages that appeared afterward. Some viewed those posts as meaningful hints, while others felt they were too vague to be interpreted with confidence. There's also the fact that rumors tend to grow when there's very little direct clarification from the people involved.
I'm so scared for Cardi B, y'all, because every time I see Stefon Diggs, all I can think about is that video of the interviewer asking all of his teammates, who on the team would you least like to date your sister? And every last one of them said him.
Davin, what guy on this team would you least like to date your sister?
What the hell? Diggs.
What guy on this team would you least like to date your sister?
Oh, Stefon Diggs.
This team would you least like to date your sister?
Least I to date my sister, Diggs. 100%.
When information is limited, supporters and critics alike often fill in the blanks with their own theories. That's exactly why so many different versions of the story is circulating, with each side pointing to different details to support its perspective. Another reason people keep revisiting this story is because every new detail seems to raise a fresh set of questions. Instead of clearing things up, each post, screenshot, or public reaction has led many fans to look even deeper into the timeline. Some are convinced they've spotted patterns that connect everything together, while others believe there's still not enough concrete information to know what really happened. What's interesting is that a lot of the speculation isn't coming from official statements at all. Much of it has been driven by online observations, fan discussions, and people comparing past events to what's being talked about now. That's why opinions are so divided.
Team would you least like to date your sister? And I might add, you're starting to be the runaway favorite for this.
Would nobody want me to date this sister? I'm a great guy.
When it comes to the dating world, do you know what kind of scary creatures are crawling around in an NFL locker room? And every last one of them agreed that you were the one they'd least like to date their sister? Oh, hell no. Let's go back to COVID. Get 6 feet back.
One group sees the similarities in timing as important clues, while another group views them as details that could easily be interpreted in different ways. Meanwhile, many supporters have been focusing less on the rumors themselves and more on what happens next. From their perspective, the bigger question isn't just about the speculation, it's about whether the people involved decide to address any of it directly or continue letting the public piece things together on its own. What has also added another layer to this situation is the way fans have been revisiting older moments that didn't seem important at the time. People have been digging through past interviews, social media posts, and public appearances, trying to see if there were any signs that now look different in hindsight. When a story starts gaining attention, even small details that were previously overlooked can suddenly become part of the discussion. At the same time, not everyone is buying into every theory being shared online. Some people believe that social media users have a tendency to connect unrelated events and present them as evidence of something bigger. That's why there's been a lot of debate over which details are actually relevant and which ones might just be coincidences. For many observers, the timeline remains the most important piece of the puzzle. The dates, the appearances, and the sequence of events are what people keep coming back to as they try to understand how all of these rumors became linked together in the first place. And that focus on the timeline is exactly why so many people keep returning to the same key moments. Fans have been lining up different events side by side, comparing when photos surfaced, when certain public appearances happened, and when various comments were made. The goal for many isn't just to react to the latest rumor, it's to figure out whether all of these pieces actually fit together in a way that makes sense. Another thing people have pointed out is how quickly narratives can change once new information enters the picture. A situation that initially seemed straightforward can suddenly look completely different after a new post, a new photo, or a new statement appears.
Never in my days will I be booed up with a man, regardless if we had a child together or not, that just got acquitted from charges that stem from a woman who was mad at the fact that he was hunching her and he wouldn't make her her main, even though she knew that there was other women that he was hunching on as well, aside from his main, the baby mother that he's here picture with. Never in my days will I be booed up with a man that fathered multiple children in the same 12-month span, including my own, which means that he hunched on multiple women, including myself, in that same 12-month span, which means that I know that this person cheated on me, but here I am booed up with them anyways because I'm a bird brain.
That's why some observers are being cautious about drawing firm conclusions too early, especially when so much of the discussion is based on interpretations rather than confirmed facts. Meanwhile, others believe the reactions from people connected to the situation have been just as interesting as the rumors themselves. Instead of focusing only on the original claims, they've been paying attention to who is speaking up, what is being said, and whether those comments provide any additional context. What's also worth noting is that situations like this often take on a life of their own once enough people start discussing them. A single photo or post can lead to dozens of theories, and before long, people are examining every interaction connected to the story. That's exactly why some fans have been revisiting recent events, looking to see whether anything stands out now that they have more context than they did before. Another factor is that public figures are constantly under a microscope. Even routine appearances, a casual social media activity, can end up being interpreted in completely different ways depending on what rumors are circulating at the time. Because of that, supporters on both sides have been debating whether certain details are genuinely significant or whether they're only receiving attention because of everything else that's currently being discussed. What's making this especially tricky is that different people are prioritizing different pieces of information. Some are focused on the photos that sparked the rumors in the first place, while others are paying closer attention to the reactions that followed. For many observers,
But think after what Cardi went through with Offset, and is still currently going through with Offset, that she would have learned her lesson, especially having multiple children with her ex-husband, and now here she is with a man that she knows doesn't respect her, because a man that respects you isn't going to cheat on you. A man that respects you isn't going to do you like how Stefon has done Cardi, but Cardi's going to stay because she's male-centered. Men will only do what you allow them to, and Stefon Diggs' track record and Carfax when it comes to women is horrific, but Cardi obviously doesn't care because Cardi thinks that's all she's worth at this point.
understanding the full story means looking at both the original claims and everything that happened afterward, rather than focusing on just one part of the situation. And the more people looked into it, the more attention started shifting toward the bigger picture, rather than just one specific post. Instead of focusing on a single image or a single comment, many fans began asking whether all of the different details being discussed could be connected. That's why so much of the conversation is centered on timelines, public appearances, and the sequence of events that led up to these rumors. What's interesting is that stories like this often develop in stages. First, there's the original claim that gets everyone's attention. Then people start searching for additional clues, comparing notes, and bringing up older moments that may or may not be relevant. After that, reactions from friends, supporters, and people connected to the situation can end up becoming part of the story themselves. At this point, many observers are less focused on individual pieces of evidence and more interested in whether the overall narrative actually holds together. Some believe the various details seem to point in the same direction, while others maintain that there is still unanswered questions that make it difficult to know exactly what happened. That difference in perspective is a big reason why opinions remain so divided. Another detail that has kept people talking is how quickly online speculation can turn into a full-blown narrative. Once a theory starts gaining momentum, people often begin searching for anything that either supports it or challenges it.
Despite the fact that he was acquitted of the charges and the chef was proven to have lied, and that's why the trial ended so quickly, I don't think the chef was lying about her and Stefon hunching, and I don't think that the chef was lying about Stefon hunching somebody else and she knew about it. It gave that she was mad at the fact that she wanted to be his main and she wanted to, elevate her position in his life, and he wouldn't allow that to happen. And that's why she got mad and decided to basically extort him. And it's like, as a woman, why would you want to deal with a man after that? After that coming to light.
In this case, fans have been combing through recent events, trying to determine which details are meaningful and which ones might simply be getting caught up in the excitement surrounding the story. What makes it even more complicated is that different groups are looking at the same information and reaching completely different conclusions. Some believe the timing of certain events is difficult to ignore, especially when viewed alongside the photos and reactions that surfaced afterward. Others argue that timelines can sometimes appear more convincing than they actually are when pieces are arranged after the fact. There's also been a lot of discussion about perception versus reality. Public figures often have parts of their lives documented online, but those snapshots rarely tell the entire story. A photo can capture a moment, a comment can hint at a feeling, and a post can spark endless theories. Yet none of those things automatically provide the full context. That's why so many people are still carefully weighing the details before deciding what they think really happened. As people continued digging through the details, another question started coming up more frequently. If everything is just a misunderstanding, why have so many fans become convinced there's a deeper story here? That's the part that has kept the speculation alive. For some observers, it's not just one photo, one comment, or one appearance that caught their attention. It's the combination of multiple moments that they believe deserve a closer look. At the same time, others have pushed back on that idea and pointed out how easy it is for assumptions to spread online.
Because he came from school. No, when he comes from school, they gotta eat the food that is cooked. Like, motherfucker was screaming, acting crazy because he wanted to eat potato chips before he eat. You're not gonna eat potato chips before you eat. And he had a tantrum crying for 40 minutes, and that really pissed me off. But no is no. And then my dad pissed me off even more because while he's having a tantrum, I'm like, yo, we gotta let him have that tantrum. He not gonna get it when he want all the time. My dad gonna give him the phone.
Once a theory starts circulating, people often begin viewing new information through that lens. A post that might have seemed ordinary before can suddenly be interpreted as a hidden message, and a coincidence can end up being treated as a major clue. That's why there has been such a strong debate over what should actually be considered evidence. Some fans feel the pieces fit together too neatly to ignore, while others believe there are still too many missing details to make any firm claims. Until more information comes out, much of the discussion remains centered on interpretation, with different people drawing different conclusions from the same set of events. What has made this story even more complicated is that people aren't just discussing what was posted, they're also analyzing what hasn't been said. In celebrity situations, silence can sometimes generate just as many theories as a direct statement. When there's no immediate clarification, fans often start filling in the blanks themselves, and that can lead to several different versions of the same story circulating at once. Because of that, every small development has been getting extra attention. Whether it's a social media post, a public appearance, or a message from someone connected to the situation, people have been trying to determine if it changes the narrative in any meaningful way. Some observers believe certain reactions have been subtle hints, while others think they're being overanalyzed and taken out of context.
Like me and my cousin, because my cousin, she babysits Wave, she's like, to take care of him. Like, we be trying to be a little bit tough with him, but like my dad and mom doing soft shit, and it's like, yo, you can't be super soft with Wave because he's gonna be a man, and he already got a character. He's a real boy. Like, he got his shit, and it's like, you're being so soft on him. We already don't be popping him. We don't pop him. So it's like, don't be giving him what he want when he want it. He's about to be 5.
There's also the reality that public relationships are often viewed through a very different lens than private ones. Fans only see selected moments, and those moments can sometimes create impressions that don't fully reflect what's happening behind the scenes. That's one reason why opinions remain split. Some people feel the recent rumors line up with what they've observed over time, while others think there's still too much uncertainty to connect all the dots. For now, the biggest focus remains on separating confirmed information from assumptions and figuring out which details genuinely matter to the overall story.
All right, y'all. So yeah, later. I had a long, busy day today. I think I slept today for 2 hours. I went to see Meg in Broadway. I was a little sad because I tried my best to be on time today, but I had so many things to do. But we made it to like 40 minutes before the show ended, and it was so good. I only been to a Broadway play like one time when I was like 8 years old. You know, like when you go to school in New York, they was gonna make you go to a Broadway play. So that was so fun. It was so pretty. I was liking the storyline and made it amazing.
What's really keeping people interested is how many different angles this situation seems to have. At first, the attention was centered on the photos and whether the locations matched. Then the focus shifted to the timeline, followed by the reactions from people close to the situation. Now, many fans are looking at how all of those pieces interact with one another, rather than viewing them as separate events. That approach has led to a lot of discussion about context. Some observers believe that any single detail on its own might not seem particularly significant, but when multiple details are placed side by side, they start to tell a larger story. Others disagree and argue that combining unrelated events can sometimes create a narrative that appears stronger than the actual evidence supports. Another point that keeps coming up is how quickly public perception can change. A few months ago, many fans were focused on appearances that seemed positive and suggested everything was fine. Now, people are revisiting those same moments and questioning whether they interpreted them correctly in the first place. That shift in perspective has caused many followers to re-examine previous assumptions and look at recent developments from a completely different viewpoint. For some, the biggest mystery isn't necessarily what happened, it's whether there's still more information that hasn't surfaced yet. That's why so much attention has been placed on upcoming posts, comments, and appearances as people continue trying to understand the full sequence of events. At this point, a lot of people online seem to have strong opinions about Stefon and the rumors surrounding his personal life. Some fans feel that if the speculation turns out to be true, it could explain why so many questions have been raised about the situation. Others believe it's best to wait for confirmed information before making any final judgments. Now, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Do you think Gio and Stefon Diggs could end up having a more serious connection? Or do you think this is simply another rumor that people are reading too much into? And what about Cardi B? Do you believe she has truly moved on this time? Or do you think there's still more to the story? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, and share so you don't miss any future updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.